How many dates do you think you've been on in your life, Tim?
Well, I still have date night, so
Sure.
thousands.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, thousands.
Is it a standard kind of style of date, right? So like dinner. Because I feel like, growing up in high school, it was like, oh, let's go to the movies. Like maybe we'll go to, Roy Rogers beforehand. The roller rink. Oh, God. Oh, Lord. Are there still roller rinks? Is that a thing?
I know that there was a time that like one of the schools in our school district, they would open up the basketball court. It wasn't like the actual court. They had a protective covering on it, whatever, but they would open up that gym on Friday nights for roller skating or inline skating. And it was like
for like your kids.
Yeah, but you can, and then the whole family could go, and it was pretty cool. They had a DJ, and just like the old times, you shoot the duck, couple skate, all that kind of good stuff.
Shoot the duck.
Did you remember that?
No, I've only been roller skate. I was an inline skater most of my days growing up, elementary, middle school. Roller skating really wasn't a thing. That was like the nostalgic thing that we did because our parents did it.
Right.
And I think I've only been roller skating like less than 5 times, maybe even less than 3.
Yeah, you'll have to Google that later. It's way too hard to explain.
Got it. What was the last date you went on?
Well, we do weekly dates. At Friday nights are usually our nights. Go hit a
Mexican joint.
A Mexican restaurant, has some chips and salsas with a margarita or 4.
No worries. We are delighted today to be joined by the founder of My Date Jar, Bretton Key. What was the last date you went on?
Well, the last date that I went on, that's a good one.
I've already stumped you. One question in.
No. It's actually, it was just a quiet dinner with overlooking the water. Very cozy, very intimate, really great food, nice ambiance. It was amazing. So that was the last date I went on.
How did you how did you come up with this idea that man, we need to, and we joked a little bit before we went on live, simplify dating? How did you discover the need to make the dating idea process easier?
Well, that's a great question. And the best way to phrase that is where our current state of where our country is. Basically, everybody has been reintroduced to outside. Going outside is a new world. So for me, the idea really came from once we had quarantine, I wanted to do something like, hey, once we were able to, really be out, do fun things again, I wanted to be prepared and be ready for it. In addition, I'm a software guy, been in software for many, many years. And I'm always, looking at how to make a better wheel, so to speak. So it just kind of married where the technology and that thought process came together. And I just literally wanted to take something that was a really analog, very simple idea and just make it modern. And that's where the app was, born, from an organic, benign place.
So you said an analog world, right? So I guess right now if I want to go on a date, I just have to know the place. Maybe I Google it in some respect. And then from there, I do it. I've actually heard a very similar idea to this back in 2012. Tim, were you there at that event? At date night? Yeah, so I had an event called Start Norfolk. And it was a build a business in a weekend pitch competition. And a very similar idea was that it was a girl who pitched it. I think she was right out of college, and she was like, I have a newlywed husband, and we're always looking for interesting things to do for dates, and we don't know where to look for these things, right? That business did not work, right? I think it was just web-based, maybe not app-based at that point. I can't recall. It didn't work. I'm not sure if it was founder issues or something like that, but this idea of finding places, the Yelps of the world, the internet, there's places to find this type of stuff, like where to go on a date for Virginia Beach, where to eat dinner in Virginia Beach. What makes this unique? Because it seems like there is a lot of ways to find something to do in your backyard.
That is very true. Well, when you say in that perspective, what makes this unique is that I literally actually it's right behind me, coincidentally, is actually a physical jar full of written down suggestions. And I did get some of the inspiration from like your Pinterest, general Google searches, and so forth. But a lot of them, I just really took a lot of introspective looking into things that I really thought were out of my comfort zone or could be out of other people's comfort zone. And I wanted to frame it. The real differentiating factor is that the goal of this is to become your end-to-end dating service, where you're not only giving a suggestion, you're able to make the plans, but as well as showcasing different venues, events, businesses, and everything else in between. That way that, again, you're getting the full experience from end to end with minimal thought or minimal resistance. So this is what I'm referring to for simplifying dating. I'm literally removing all the things that you would use as an excuse to not go on a date. And lastly, as well, I love this area. I'm born and raised. I've been here all my life. And it's amazing that this area and beyond has really grown with the level of venues, the art scene, like, like the Neon District. You have great like hotels. You have all these amazing eateries that are like, if you know kind of things. And I know that that's just not just in this area, so, it's across the US. But again, I just want to also give those places a platform to shine and then also to showcase what they're, really about and give people a way to get more business in both ways.
Yeah, I think it's super easy to, you can get stuck in a rut pretty quick, I would think, in terms of either one, not doing dating, having a date night, but just continuing to go to the same place over and over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a great
dating is a lifestyle. Yeah, dating is a lifestyle. Like, I think it's a lifestyle kind of thing. It's something that should be just as important as people who, run and exercise, people who, you care about what you eat, like far as, your diet. I think that dating is a same level of an element that should be added. And it, again, we were talking about this earlier, but I'm like, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. It's just to take some intention, a bit of effort, and, time.
Oh, good, Tim. You go.
I'm just curious in terms of, like, you had mentioned that you're born and raised in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area, that you love the area. Do you, as a software guy, are you tracking like how much local people are going local, or is it Williamsburg people going down to Norfolk, or is it tourists that are here that are utilizing the app? What kind of data are you seeing from a usage standpoint?
Well, most of the dates that are really popular so far are like the do-it-yourself kind of dates that I have. And these are things like, for instance, the indoor picnic. I have a date called a chop date where it kind of mimics that show, the chop show, where you're making and preparing food and so forth. Most of those have been the most popular and most well-received, where people can, again, do these dates in their homes or whatever location that they feel comfortable. I will state too that I am seeing a really great influx of, users, not just here in this local region, but even all the way up from the Northern Virginia area that actually are coming down to experience different dates or locations that are here in this area. So I'm still actually, like I said, learning, my user base in that regards. And again, making sure that I'm tailoring things to kind of accommodate that. But I have seen, like I said, a really great influx of people from, this region, not just here in direct Hampton Roads, is actually, going all the way up Northern Virginia as well.
When it comes to entrepreneurship, specifically in the tech space, I think a lot of founders have ideas. That idea could be a good idea, but they have really no skill set in that game, right? You say you're technical. So does that mean in this case that you're developing the app yourself because you're technical, or?
Yeah, that's a great question, and a way how you framed that. And I'm really a nerd. I'm a super nerd. I love all things tech, and I was blessed with the gift of technology. So, technology has always come fairly easy to me. And I do come from a programming background. I did actually turn that programming background more to a business background, in the latter points of my career. However, I did actually build some of the initial pieces and database of the app. And I ended up investing in myself and actually, learning like some coding classes. But I recognized that the time it takes to really develop everything in the way I want to develop, in the time I wanted to develop, that I had to outsource the rest of it. So right now, currently, yes, I have done a piece of it in certain components, but as a whole, I also contracted developers to help get me to where I'm at today.
When it comes to the tech aspect of that, so many technical founders will overbuild, and then those features never get used. It sounds like you have some sort. You said you make the transition to a business perspective in that. Like, what are you doing to not overcomplicate something and really simplify it so that it can get the traction that you're looking at starting to get? Because I think so many founders just are like, I'm going to build these 15,000 features, and then one of this 15,000 maybe gets used.
Well, you know what? That's a perfect perspective and a really great way that you are framing that again. So my specialty is really with process improvements. And again, like I said earlier, reinventing a better wheel, so to speak. So I really took the approach of I wanted a certain baseline of key features and key items that I knew for sure would be useful and are some best practices in this tech space that I'm trying to conquer. Second of all, being considered a dating app, to be honest, it's not so much as a dating app, it's really more of a dating service, and it's marrying event planning together. So I didn't want to overdevelop and make too many features and things that wouldn't really stick or resonate with my customers. So I really took a very focused approach and more of a lean approach into development. And I literally just built, like I said, a framework of key features and capabilities as my starting point. And then right now, even currently behind the scenes, I'm developing the next level of features and capabilities, but it's based off of what my consumers, they're telling me that they need and what they want. And I'm literally using the people as my, guide and roadmap to development. So the fortunate thing too, if I want, again, another layer of that is budgeting. And, if people don't really understand maybe the real cost of really making a refined, sophisticated app, it's very costly if you really are serious about it and want to go down that route. So I recognize a way and a method to do so, again, where I was take a little and I was able to do a lot with it. And again, scale and keep growing piece by piece from it. So it feels great that this, the starter app, this basically MVP version of my app has actually gotten the traction that it has gotten in the time that it's been out. It's only been launched since April of this year. So I made sure that I didn't want to overdevelop. I have basically a whole roadmap that I have for years out on what I want features and the vision of where I want this to go. And I'm just doing it step by step and where appropriate. And again, using my users as the compass for guidance.
Are you the guy right now that is creating the different dates to choose from, or do different establishments then present date options that you then post to your app?
Well, initially, most of the suggestions did come from me. However, if inside the app, there actually is a suggest a date option. And this is where users literally are suggesting, the names, the descriptions, the whole 9 yards on different dates. And so what I do is I vet those, and roughly every month, some of the best options, at least one, per month, I add to the database as an option for dates. Just recently, though, I have been more positioned by, physical locations and venues or events spaces to actually add them into the app. So that's the next, evolution where, again, the dates will be super focused, super honed in to, specific areas and venues. And as well, even themed dates, based off of Halloween's coming up, a haunted hayride, haunted house, things like that. All these things are in the works right now. And I love seeing the suggestions because people have some really creative suggestions. Some, easy to add, no problem. And then some, I don't want to get, a cease and desist letter or something weird because, some people put some really outlandish items in there too. So, but I love it. And I love the feedback.
So it's interesting that you say that. So I don't know if this is true. My guess is it's true. As a guy, I have ideas as what I want to do for a date. And I'm sure there's females that have ideas what a good date is for them. Do you have, is it broken down like this is a date from a guy's perspective and this is a date from a girl's perspective? Is there anything built in like that? Because I mean, 3 guys on here right now. What I would want is I'd be like, yo, let's go get wings and beer. Like, let's call it a day.
Listen,
Wife is like,
that's always a good time. That is always a good time.
But to
no,
women,
it's actually
not,
agnostic
probably,
of that.
Right?
It's actually very agnostic of that. It doesn't actually, do that level of, this is more for a woman, this is more for a guy. It's really described, and the descriptions are really based on. You don't have to do the descriptions and items verbatim. It's literally just to get the conversation going. It's literally to get the ball rolling in your date life and just get you in the right direction. So it's really designed for you to tailor it to the level of the relationship you are. So if this is a first date, you might not want to go all the way on certain things. But if you've been with someone for a while, you can take a simple date and elevate it or customize it to, who that person is and whatever stage you are in your relationship. I will say, though, the coolest feature that I have that I'm promoting more, not just the date options itself, is the forum that's embedded with the app. And the forum is very unique because it's really a way to survey and find out how really people experience their dates. And it's done in a way where you can talk about it as yourself, or you can talk about it anonymously, just in case you want to, don't really feel like being on Front Street. You can actually, have a little bit of anonymity in that regards. But the good news about it is that it's really designed for like a each one teach one method, where you're literally, from whoever's perspective, from a woman's, guys, whatever in between, that you can literally share how you thought that date went based off of your perspective, and use that as a way from another person reading who's doing a similar date, look at that and get some really great insights. Maybe borrow something that you did from your playbook, like, hey, we discovered this amazing wine, or we found this awesome IPA at Smart Mouth Brewery, like things. It could be just as simple as that, and these little things are really great ways to add on to your date life. So
yeah, this is I think, well, most businesses are this way, but I think this one in specifically, that if you listen to what the feedback from your customers are going to guide that roadmap. I mean, especially when it comes to the dating side. I mean, that's something that's really, you jack that up, man. And, a couple bad experiences on a date night, and I would imagine that you'll hear about it pretty quick. Or, yeah. So I think that's great that you're listening to what your customers are saying. I'm
really working on promoting a safe space for people to talk about their experiences embedded in the app and then outside of it. A lot of the socials and, even my email campaigns, again, are just trying to show that, hey, even if you didn't have the best experience, sometimes those bad experiences on a date, especially if you've been with someone for some time, actually end up being like your inside jokes later down the road, or it becomes like funny, or it becomes, a milestone, in your relationship. You never know. But at the same token, there is a fine line between, when you're having everything going right, and then when everything goes wrong, it does turn some people off, and it can be, a bit of a roadblock. But again, the goal is to have way more good than bad. And again, encourage people to really just be vocal on, how their dating life is treating them.
Are you a dating expert? Because I saw on somewhere that like you do dating coaching or something like that. Like,
yes. I'm, well, let's see. What's the best way to answer this? Are
you questioning? Are you the expert in this? Like,
no, because everybody cracks jokes on this and calls me like Hitch, and I love that movie. I love that character that Will Smith played, and I'm like, by no means am I him or that. I'm not here to match you up. You find the dates. I mean, you find the mate, and I find the dates. Like, I'm the next step afterwards. I'm the connection portion. I'm more about keeping people together. And well before I even announced becoming a date coach, for years, I've been a source of people asking, hey, where should I take somebody out for this? Or this is coming up, or, whatever. And I've just been able to give really good advice from a really genuine, unbiased space. So as of recent, once I launched this app, it kind of became natural that people, assumed and went down that route for me. And it also kind of helped with a branding and as well a reach perspective, because it kind of shied away from me just being another nerd who made an app. And once people understood that I actually am giving some really great insights on how to make sure your dating life is healthy, it just spurred into date coaching as well. So It was very organic. I was actually running away from it, but it just kind of found me, and it was something that I did want to do more of. But that was really supposed to be way down the line. Actually, that was actually in my plans, maybe like another year or 2 years after the fact from launch, to kind of circle back to that. But it ended up helping doing it earlier because, again, it just made it more, gave me more validation to what I'm suggesting because I knew what I was talking about. So I've had some really good success stories, and we'll see how far it goes.
I'm curious, when someone goes, they download the app. It's available now on the App Store and the Google Play Store. They go
Yes.
through that. Is there an onboarding process that those people go through in terms of, I like beer, I like wine, I don't like sushi? Do they go through a profile that then will return some results?
No, actually, it is very simple. Like once you sign up, you can use your standard embedded socials like Google, Facebook, and Apple to sign up and initially get into the app. I don't really ask any direct questions or like occupation or much of the information. I try my best to ensure that from my users that I am not pulling or just getting a lot of useless information at this point from me. There are definitely policies and stuff that surrounds that as well. But really, the concept of how the picks are done is gamified. It's really designed to make you feel like you'll never get to the end of the jar. And that's, the illusion, so to speak, that I have in there. I mean, even though it seems super random, it's all like an algorithm and things that actually allow the suggestions to come. But the suggestions are literally random. They're not designed to be tailored. Again, some stuff on there, if you are afraid of heights, you might pop up and get a suggestion that says hot air balloon. And you're like, oh, I'm not doing that. But maybe your date might convince you to go to iFly in Virginia Beach and do indoor skydiving. And maybe, that could be a way for you to kind of break out that box or to, work on that fear. Again, it's really designed so that some stuff you're like, oh yeah, I could go bowling. That's fine. Mini golf. That's cool. But then there's also dates in there that you'd be like, wow, I never thought of that. And let's try it, and it's about just being game and just willing to, go on that journey itself.
I will never stick my hand where someone else's fingers have been again into a bowling ball. I'm done with that. I might buy my own bowling ball, but I'm done with that. Okay, I am never.
You gotta do it by your own.
I might buy my own, but man,
yeah, Amazon has everything.
Thing ever. You think they spray the disinfectant in there? I don't. They barely do it in the shoes. I mean, that place is just a wall. Anyway, can we play a game? You want to play a game? Are you ready to play a game?
Are you talking to me, Zach?
No, I know Tim will play, but so Bretton, behind you have that jar. You didn't know we were doing this, but you showed us that it was there. Pull out the jar.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay.
I want you to pull out 3 of the things in there, and I want to know what 3 of the dates are. Let's go.
Okay, so just so you know, from an app perspective, they're a bit more refined and more spelled out. So these are just pieces and notes. So we'll see what we have first. Okay, so all right, this is what I was referring to. Again, this is an 18 and up app, but the first thing I picked, you can't see this, but it says the Pink Banana Boutique. Go to the Pink Banana Boutique. Okay,
what is that?
It's an adult store here in the Hampton Roads area. So
there you go. I love that was the first one.
Yeah, see, you open up this can of worms.
Hey, my date jar, X-rated version. Okay, this is like Words with Friends. This is
okay. So here's another one. The second one I just picked is cigars and chill. So I mean, if you're not a smoker, you might pass on this, and that's fine. But there are some really great cigar lounges here in the area. You got Twist, the new Magoo's downtown. There's Joe Vines in Virginia Beach, and there's probably, like I said, quite a few others up and down, here in on the East Coast. One of my favorites is Mona's in Richmond. Really nice establishment. All right, number three. Let's see what we got here. Please pick something, wholesome and sweet.
Read the Bible.
All right, so the last one is a picnic, and like I said again, and inside the app, the goal of it is to take these simple things like, oh, everybody can do a picnic, but now there's VB Picnic and Code. There's picnics and peonies, and there are different places that can actually give you like a phenomenal indoor picnic experience in your home or it's particular locations things like that. The goal again is to take simple dates or simple ideas, and again elevate them where you feel accordingly. So you got your anniversaries coming up, Valentine's coming up, birthdays or whatever. This just again helping you to figure out what to do, and the least amount of work. I'm doing the legwork for you, really.
I think it sounds like a great job for you in the sense of you would have to test all these things out before putting it up on your app to make sure that you can verify it.
Not to sound cheesy or cliche, but a lot of people don't know is that when I made a lot of these apps, a lot of these suggestions, for me personally, in my own personal journey, that I told myself that if I was able to get through the list of suggestions that I have with a person, that person would be like my soulmate. If this person was willing to go and be game to go through all these crazy dates and different things without, little to no reservations, then this person might be the person for me, the love of my life kind of thing. So that was like some of the logic on some of these as well. So a lot of these dates, if I'm being honest, I haven't actually been on all of them. I've been on quite a few of them, but there's not a way right now. And plus with the way how it's growing, again, even for myself, I want to have that same feeling just as my end users. I want to feel as though there's a never ending process, because that's the philosophy. Dating should be never ending. It's a necessity, not a luxury. So
do you save pink money for the first date or the last date for that soulmate?
See, that's the thing. It's all on how it picks. So whatever stars, if it's date number 1, I mean, hey, she got to be game. But if it's date number 322, I mean, again, it should be good. The goal of these as well, too, is that when they are picked, is that you can take the same date and then redo it, but just do it in a slightly different manner, like different variations. And that's where I love about this the most, is the fact that, again, the user, you get the chance to determine to do this on your own conditions, where you feel safe, where you feel comfortable. And that's the beauty of it. It's not me force feeding you or like ramrodding you these different, suggestions and things where I'm like, oh, you have to do it this way. And, and if you don't, then obviously, you failed. Like, no, it's very fluent. And I love, like I said, to see where this is heading. I love to see the creativity. Like I have a Netflix and chill date in here, and some people have picked that date, and they invested in a projector and a small DLP projector, and went out in the backyard and projected some movies on for Netflix and made it into a whole thing. And it's great to take something as simple as Netflix and chill, which kind of has like that hookup stigma to it, and actually showcase it and elevate it in a very unique way. Things like that are what this app is all about, connecting in the ways that you feel works for you.
What's been your most favorite date that you've been on using your app?
Using my app, my favorite would be
the pink money.
No. Actually, it's going to be the chop date. The chop date for sure. Like going to the grocery store, picking out some ingredients, and even adding in there like some ingredients that ain't no way in the world you can make something out of it. And then actually being able to turn it into something that actually tastes good, or that doesn't make you like gag, is like awesome. That's been like my favorite actually. So yeah, that by far is, I could do that like every week if I could, and would never get sick of it, because I'm a fat boy at heart. I'm a foodie, so things like that just really appeal to me.
It seems like in some capacity, each one of these dates you have to pay for something, right? Whether it's the picnic basket, some food, you're going to a venue, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. When I listen to that, it's you are a walking hype man for these dates, which then ultimately is for a venue or for Chopped or for a grocery store or whatever, to the cigar lounge, whatever. Are you making money off of the venues? Has that conversation come in? Are you like how is that coming in? Because if you're giving all these people publicity and they're giving you nothing in return,
that makes me a sucker. That makes me a sucker, Zach.
You said it, not me.
No, it's fine, and that's a really great perspective. I mean, what you're describing is actually more in the second layer of development, and wants the updated version. But right now, currently, I am curating different platform as a service relationships and brokering some deals for that. So in my world, in my ecosystem, what I'm really trying to deliver people is like packages and ways to do dates. So for instance, I'll give you an example. So right now I'm working to get some personal chefs not just in this area, but across the US. And for that date, if you pick that date for a private chef, you got 3 tiers. The first tier would be a DIY, you do it yourself kind of date where this chef gives you the recipe, how to do the presentation, everything for a very minimal cost. The second tier is where they actually prepare the food for you, and they will either deliver it or you come pick it up at whatever designated location. And then the third, for instance, is the full chef experience. Now that's where you get that person doing the hibachi and you catching shrimp in your mouth, whatever. I mean, you're getting the full experience. Now, from the level of where I make money is that the app itself is subscription based, and that's where I'm recouping some of the money in there. But as well, I am doing a percentage of sales from them, and as well that certain platforms or certain groups or whatever, you do have to pay an annual fee to be featured in the app, because again, I'm giving you really that technology layer that you may not already have for those different conversions. So it's a win-win for everybody. It's very minimal, honestly, overall for them, it's very minimal cost, and as well to my end users is a fairly minimal cost as well. So that's the way how for my business model where I make money. And in addition, to complement the app, I am as well featuring some products that actually complement the whole dating scene as well. So those are my current business models.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool if you offered even a heightened subscription level, your VIP level, where you were able to get a reservation to a place that is otherwise booked weeks or months in advance, or some sort of VIP thing where you get brought in and private table, bottle service, whatever the case is. But you have that.
That's actually in phase 3, actually, literally, and that's literally in phase 3. I mean, not to tell too much of how the sauce is made, but your perspective is literally ingredients that I've already roadmapped. And again, the exclusivity part and these additional perks that I have some really great goodies for subscribers, or again from a premium aspect. From like a VIP perspective. So I got some really good stuff I'm already working now on towards that. So when the time is right, that will be released and that will be featured. But for right now, the end goal right now and the current goal right now is just to deliver these key capabilities, which is one, being able to use your GPS location for wherever you're located here in Virginia, New York, Cali, wherever you're located, to find these different suggestions. And then the second layer is procuring these relationships and these platforms inside the app, so that I can, you can book, the different packages or the different dates and do everything and take care of everything from end to end in just like 5 to 6 clicks. That's cool. The focal point.
You just hit a button, man. Uber shows up at your door at 6 o'clock, and then they take you to wherever, man. That would be, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to those days when I start getting those phone calls or working through other major, apps or providers, because that is the different, synergies that I'm looking for. Again, when the time is right, I want to make this as, again, something new where there's nobody right now being kind of like your DoorDash of data, if you want to use that analogy, or there's nobody right now that's actually giving you that end-to-end experience in such a organic way, plus to have a community that supplements it as well. And that's as well, this kind of the secret sauce on how I know where to go and what to do is because I'm using that community to guide me and says, hey, all of a sudden now I have all these different wineries here in this particular region that's being really talked about. I need to go reach out to that, those wineries in that region and get them inside the app so that we can, work together and make sure that, hey, a few glasses of wine or a bottle and, whatever that they happen to offer, being able to offer that through the app in, the best way possible would help everyone.
Because, all those people, I'm going to generalize here, but the ladies, they watch The Bachelor, Bachelorette or whatever, and there's those dates and the picnic table or the blankets already laid out there, dude, that's a lot of work. That's beyond my creative ability to think about all those little details. So if there was a date app that had all those details where all I had to do is get in the car, we get to our destination, all that stuff is there to make me look like the man,
yes, that's exactly what we're geared towards. I mean, the best thing about a lot of this and how I'm doing it is I am like the middleman But the way how it's being executed, like once you book and, you know, get the confirmation, everything, like those additional details or specificities, you reach out to that vendor or that place or whoever's providing it, and you work those things out for you. So if you want to, you know, really, go the extra mile, you can, you know, or if there's some way to work in, you know, these different elements in there to just, you know, heighten your date based on what you already, you know, have paid or done. Again, very minimum work from you, and it makes you look like the hero. It buys you some credit for when you know, forget something that's really important, or you know, you're like, like it is our 3rd anniversary. Like, I'll be right back. You know,
and then at the end, you have a rose to give her or you don't. I mean, it's up to you at that point. So I mean, there you go.
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm gonna preface this by saying that I think you are a dating expert, right? Moving forward, if I was working with you as like your marketing coach, whatever, I'd say you need to present yourself as you personally as a dating expert, right? Yes. Because it gives you an opportunity to get in front of a lot of other media outlets and answer questions like I'm going to ask you about right now. So it's 2022. Okay. The world just ended. We're going into the craziest recession. People don't go out. Yada, yada, yada. These are all headlines that we've seen in the last 6 to 18 months, right? No one's going to stores. Food's expensive. Gas is astronomical. Yada, 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 yada. As a dating expert, when you hear people say, oh, people aren't going out anymore, what's your response to that? I have 3 questions on this, so you can answer them quickly if you want. When people say they're not going out anymore, what's your answer to that? People don't date anymore. What's your answer to that?
Okay, well, that's 2 separate questions. I'm gonna take the first one. So people are not going out anymore. That's fine. If you don't care to go out as much, but that's fine. Bring it to you. There's ways to bring it to you, and that's, you know, what I provide. The second element is really what you're describing as more of a mentality. And I do run into that problem or that issue or that question quite a lot, because most people have the stigma that once you marry someone or you've been with someone for a long time, the dating is supposed to be done. Like that was part of courting, like it's null and void. And that's, again, a part of the core philosophy, especially even why I even consider myself as a date expert, because again, it should be never ending. You should have your dating should be incorporated in your lifestyle just as important as, you know, going to the dentist or, you know, getting, waking up to, work out a few times a week. Now, mind you, everybody's cadence will not be the same, but you need to establish some kind of, realistic baseline that works for the lifestyle that you have, with that person. Or if you're a single person, you still need to have it incorporated in your diet, because we all need that connection. We all need that interaction. Everyone needs it. So regardless if the world is broken on one leg, you're still going to need, that quality time in some capacity. So this is where, again, from what I'm offering and what I do makes it very unique, because it's tailored to that situation. I'm not giving you just a blanket approach of like, everybody just go do this and you'll be great. Like, no, that doesn't work for everybody. This is a time for you and a way to show you how to take ownership, be intentional, and then also set forth an actual plan to make these things happen in a regular cadence.
And money, the recession, it's too expensive. It's
that's
$40 for
that's fine.
A carton of eggs.
Yeah, that's fine, actually, because again, the way how even right now currently for the dates they are designed for your pocket to be, budget friendly. And this is why, for instance, when I was giving an example earlier, like of the private chef, that's why that's, for instance, will be like 3 tiers and 3 packages, for instance, or across different dates, it will be tailored to different price ranges for people to meet you where you are economically. So again, in that same scenario, if you might want the full experience, but you can't afford the full experience at that particular point in time. So, but you can, have enough money to pay for the prep of it and to have it, picked up or delivered to you. Again, if you could be, a struggling college student, and, it might be a little bit even tougher for you to make this happen. Do it yourself, get that information and so forth, and get that extra, bit of help to really elevate it. This isn't just like Googling and going to Pinterest and like, hoping and wishing that it comes together. Like, this is actually a professional like guiding you and saying, hey, no, don't let it sit past, 4 minutes or it's going to taste like trash. No, it's like you got somebody that's actually, giving you the real end-to-end game on it. And again, that's where value lies. And that's where, cost and value savings comes into place.
Yeah. And even you could integrate within the app, hey, this is the best place to catch a sunset in this particular city. Yeah, that doesn't cost anything at all. Or, hey,
yes,
meteor showers tonight. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that
that's
is in the
actually,
app itself.
it's a piece of that is in there, but it's about to be elevated even more. Right now, in the next level of feature, that's and all these features should be delivered before the end of the year. So the goal is to have in the beginning of Q1 and 2023 this to roll out in time, and kind of get that steamroll going and getting ready for Valentine's. That's the goal. But the point is that what you're describing, we have like smart notifications being added in there. So like for instance, festivals, places, attractions, whatever, that are again either budget friendly or just something really that's really good to know that can help. You're going to get that information in a really organic and simplified way as well. So definitely, I'm a person honestly that again I'm always very conscious of these things. I have 3 amazing, beautiful kids that will literally eat me out of house and home. And, the world is getting a little bit more expensive. So anything I can do as well on my side that helps people with, similar paths or similar circumstances, I'm always want to, make sure that I'm not hurting somebody's pockets, so to speak, if applicable for these dates.
The best part about finding the best sunset in town is it's also the place where a serial killer will find you as well. So, I mean,
That sounds like a Lifetime movie, Zach. I feel like you're over here describing a plot from one of those movies that comes on Sundays that you just can't,
I mean, it seems like it always happens. There's the Colonial Parkway.
We had Nick on the show, and Nick, that was one of the services that he offers. Hey, here's a great place for photo opportunities when you're getting pictures done, kind of thing. So,
right.
I'm just thinking of economical ways to, and you can almost gamify that of, hey, what's the best date that you've been on, but with spending the least amount of money? I mean, I would think that there'd be some attraction to that as well.
I've actually had some earlier surveys on things like that, as doing some market research on like what people feel is the price points to pay for the service, or like what do you feel is the general or the amount of money it costs for a date in this age. And it was really great to hear such a variance of answers. So, I mean, the average right now, most people were stating that if you were going out, it costs about at least $150 to $200 to like go out on the town kind of a date, and that that covers some form of food, drinks, and some level of entertainment. But it was really great.
Hopefully my wife is not listening to that part, but keep going.
but as well, I also was able to capture that there were a lot of other really economical ways to like really reduce that cost, and it was showing that like most people in a regular who actually dated on a regular were spending no more than maybe $70 to $75 on a date. And they were really being really creative on how they were managing it. So, a lot of those dates were more geared towards like the DIY, kind of like do it yourself, like where you're, purchasing a few elements. Like I love, just me having children, but I love from a date perspective, like doing crafts and doing things where you got to build something together or make something, out of nothing. I love stuff like that. And, surprisingly, those kind of things, you can go to Michael's, Target, whatever place, and you can find some amazing stuff for like really great price points. And then going to your favorite brewery, winery, or whatever, making sure that you're able to bring whatever there. But outside of that, it's very economical.
Yeah. And we had friends over a couple of weeks ago, and you broke out some board games, and we're playing. And next thing you know, it was like 3 a.m. It was like, what in the world is happening? Yeah.
That's the best kind, and that's what those are the kind of experiences that really stick with you, especially when if the times get kind of rough or things just kind of seem unsure, or life gets in the way where you're starting to work a bit more or whatever, the distractors that are coming around. Those kind of experiences are the ones that really kind of make you realize like, no, I missed that. We need to have something similar like that again, or we need to keep this up and keep this positive element in our love life.
Acquiring downloads is an incredibly difficult thing. I just did a quick little Google search of how many apps are there in the App Store. That's just the App Store, the Apple one. It's not even including Google. I don't even want to do a separate Google search. But as of June of 21, so about, 18 months ago, 4.567, 8, 9, 10 million apps in the Apple Store alone. Now, I know you're a little niche into that, but how do you get seen? How do you acquire downloads? What are you doing to get this so that you can actually prosper and make a living off of this?
Okay. Well, cutting through the fog for being downloaded is a very tough thing. I'm very thankful and I feel very blessed that, if you type in certain parts of my app, like parts of the name or certain components and what it does come up in a fairly good, search on both platforms within, essentially like the first list of searches within maybe the first 10, maybe up to 20, but usually like up to 10 in the search. The real focal point on this was learning how to market this. The first few months of once this was launched, finding the voice and the way how I wanted to describe and get this app out there was really the trick. But as of not just now, but from months now, we've actually developed a really good approach to that and is garnering more downloads. So working now with, like I said, small partnerships with local venues, just word of mouth, being able to have, giveaways from time to time. There's different marketing tools that's being used that I'm doing concurrently that's been giving me success in my downloads. Currently, right now, we have a little bit over 550 users. But I'm really happy about is the fact that the rate of how easy it is now, like I said, to discover the app. And that revolves around, not to be too technical, too geeky, but having very good tailored keywords in the background for how my app is characterized. And then as well, being able to just constantly on different platforms, like different social media, email campaigns, in-person things and so forth, just to get the branding out there has been the difference maker. So I'm hoping that, hey, after this episode, I might have another spike in downloads. You never know, because I'm always feeling that I'm one tweet, one message, one person, one reel away from this to explode and, double my numbers virtually overnight. And that's what we're getting towards right now, getting prepared for. So
this is a happy
watching, download.
It's at dayjar.com or mydayjar.com. I mean, it's a happy thing, and we need more happiness in the world. So
Yes.
that's one of the things that really attracts me so much to what you're doing. Is just you're bringing happiness to the world. So good on you.
Yeah. Yes, I want to bring the love, back. And I always that's our catchphrase and our tagline, which is bringing back the art of dating, because we do feel like it is an art. And the funny thing about this is I've been saying this throughout the whole episode and even before. I always say we, but it's mostly myself. We is just me manifesting the fact that one day or soon I'm going to have a full, dedicated team that does this, all day, all night kind of thing. Currently right now, a lot of stuff that I'm doing and working with people who are outsourced for the different components and operations and keeping things going. But that's the power of manifestation and power where I see this is going, is that this is going to become the next big thing. I have no doubt about it. I don't feel like this is one of the things where I will fail, not being overconfident. It's just a fact of a matter of when and just me doing the proper steps at the proper time and aligning myself to have, like I said, a real roadmap that should, guarantee success.
I think every startup founder uses that we, and I don't know how many emails go to me, news at finance at, pick an email address, that makes you sound a little bit bigger than what you really are. So you're doing all the right things. You're not alone, man.
No, I'm not. And it's funny thing is that I've recognized on this journey that a lot of people do want to see me succeed in this. And as well, I have a lot more support for this than I realized. It's been such a breath of fresh air and such, a blessing that, I go to like networking events or just out on the street from time to time, and people will recognize what I'm doing or have actually used, the app and have given me some really positive feedback on it. And, just those little things of, getting messages or from random people saying how my stuff is helping them or it has, turn their date life around or whatever in that spectrum. It just makes me feel like I'm on the right track and I'm, walking in my purpose right now.
That is such a huge thing. I mean, as a founder, some of those days you start to question yourself. You're like, man, I just keep on marching down this path. But then when you run into somebody and they're like, hey, you're the guy. Thanks so much. You turned everything around for me. That's it's huge. And that's the kind of stuff that keeps you going. I mean, I know that when things started opening back up, and Zach, I shared this with you, just like, hey, you run into somebody and you're like, they would tell me, I was just up in DC and someone listened to the Fervent Four Show. And, it's like, man, that's good stuff, because as you know, you gotta hustle to get the downloads, to get the subscribers, to get whatever the case is. I mean, just if you look at the number of podcasts that are on Spotify, I just heard this morning, the exact same number. There's 4.5 million podcasts that are on Spotify right now. So it's like, we're in that same fight right now, trying to get noticed and to be seen and to be listened to and subscribed to. So it's a grind. So to get that feedback, that's the stuff that keeps founders going. So for those that are listening, buy a founder a beer or a glass of wine, or tell them thanks, because that's the stuff that keeps them going.
Yeah,
or a date on my date.
Yeah. I was about to say, get a date as well. That also works. But no, to kind of piggyback a little bit more on that, and that really touched something personal to me, is that it doesn't take a lot to support people, who are doing the more entrepreneurial or, whatever space that you're in or venture that you're doing. And again, people don't recognize how much it really means to, those founders or owners of these businesses, especially if you're considered a small business. Those little, shares, tweets, likes, word of mouth, passing along, or, purchasing, whatever products or services that a person offers, you just don't realize how much that is very meaningful and impactful. And I mean, not just saying for myself and speaking for myself, but I just got to say thank you, right now, for whoever's listening and watching right now, that if you are someone who has, been with me on this journey, or at least understand where I'm going with this, I appreciate that support. And I just want to take a moment to say that. But yeah, you're very on the nose, Tim and Zach, on your perspective, on this. So it takes a lot to cut through the fog, and it's not for the weak, faint of heart. You really have to be very vigilant. And the last thing I'll say on this is that I had to learn for myself in this journey is that I couldn't be as focused on the no's. I had to be focused more on the yeses, and the yeses will never be always in proportion to the no's. You will usually hear a lot more no's than you will yeses when you're on an entrepreneurial, or when you're really trying to build and craft something from the ground up. So, anytime that you are getting that positive feedback or certain levels of support, it means something, and it's all the difference on what keeps people going.
A couple of years ago, I interviewed Damon John of Fubu and Shark Tank fame. And I asked him a question like, what do you do when you hear no in business? And his answer was, a no is an absolute maybe. You just got to learn a little bit more about it. And so I thought that was really insightful.
I
and it's just like, figure it out. We've had several women and Black founders on the show that might not be as positive towards the world, I guess, or have had negative experiences at being a founder, whether it be a female or Black founder. I'm just interested, like, your general observations of being a Black founder. Have you seen some negativity? Are you just more on the positive side of it, so you don't worry about that? There's a lot more groups now, Black run in town, that are helping support. Like where are you on the spectrum of that? What are your thoughts?
Well, I will say that, if to be really clear, very honest, is that I have experienced some very negative experiences as a result of that. Just so you know, when I first started this journey, I really originally didn't think of this as a business. I just wanted to make the app. But once I realized I had a business and I really thought through it and I had the vision come to me, I tried my best to be the person behind the scenes and not actually be in the forefront of the app. I really didn't want it to have directly a face associated. I really just wanted the service and what I was going to speak for itself. And come to find out, that just doesn't work. From anybody from a marketing perspective, or anybody who, from branding or whatever in between, that's delineations of that, you'll find that doesn't work. You got to have a person to be the face and to talk and to be passionate and to really show the world why you belong to be where you are. So I've received, some no's, or people didn't want to work with me for, whatever reason. And I don't want to just chalk it up to, a racial aspect. But I will say that I did experience quite a few, negative experiences that really didn't warrant, that negative experience. So I will say that I have been working hard to link and to, align myself with, you know, not just, my people, but any minorities or any groups of people who are just willing to just listen to what I'm doing. I don't, see color in that regards. I just see a way for us to come together, and that's what I'm really about. So the best thing about this and that experience, and which is maybe more sunny side up, is that once people get a chance to talk to me or get a chance to really experience what I'm really about, that level of camaraderie or those relationships or business relationships have been opening up. I think, as a whole, the world has shown us that we need more ways to come together than to divide us. So you've hit the nail on the head on that. And I have experienced both sides of that coin, but I choose to be very, positive in that regards because, I believe that we're stronger together. And I also believe that, there's a need and a gap right now that I'm trying to fill that's really being underutilized. And so that's where I'm at, which I can't wait. You just reminded me that I can't wait for the Mighty Dream Foundation or the forum to be here. I got my ticket, and I'm just really curious and really anxious to see how that's going to come about and
Awesome.
and so forth. I'm love the fact that our area is trying our best to just make everything more inclusive, show people what's really available, and in addition, just show people that hey, we have something to offer, like not just this area, but across the world or the US as well, that there are a bunch of great things that we can do together if we work together.
Totally agree. And from a personal standpoint, being invited, for us to be invited to do the Fervent Four Show at the Mighty Dream, to do a live broadcast from there, I mean, that means a lot to me, just in the sense of being recognized that we are a platform for diversity, for founders of color, and for women, female founders. That's what means most to me about being invited to be part of Mighty Dream. It's just, we all need a platform. We all need to help each other out. And I don't know if maybe I'm naive, but I would like to think that entrepreneurship is really something special, that we all back one another and we want to help each other succeed. And that's what it's all about. But yeah, I look forward to seeing you at Mighty Dream.
I as well. Again, I really feel like, everybody, there's space for everybody. The weirdest thing sometimes I've run into the most is that when I start talking or doing what I'm doing, that some people feel like I'm infringing on what they have going on. And it's actually the opposite. I want to magnify. And I think this is where I'm starting to garner success or have more people now reaching out to me as of late, is because you're like, what I'm asking you to do or what I'm trying to accomplish is a very minimum lift for you, very minimal risk. You don't have to do too much outside of what you're currently doing. I'm trying to give you, your direct, the demographics or the consumers that you're, fishing for. I'm already trying to bring that towards you, and things like that in that element are key. And again, I think it just comes full circle. And I'm also a kind of a person too, that in the entrepreneurial journey or just any knowledge journey, that I love to like tell people or share my knowledge that I have, because that's how you empower people. And that's how you change, the world or everything around you for good. It's literally, you taking the time to mentor, help, or position yourself to enable somebody else to do even maybe better than what you're currently doing. That's, my approach, and totally agree with you're saying, Tim.
Yeah, it's Zach, we've had some shade thrown our way. Yeah, when we first started the Fervent Four Show, it's like, oh, you guys are going to have this show on, and you're a couple white dudes trying, that's going to do this show, and it's just like, we've been really, really intentional, and I think that we've done a lot more than what some of the people that were throwing shade have done. But we let the products and the founders speak for themselves, man, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
So let me get this right, Tim. You literally waited till like the last couple minutes of this this live to push the chaos button, and like basically, I feel like you just called somebody out to the monkey bars at the playground. You're like, catch me outside. How about that?
People will be, they'll remain nameless, but
I just think people hate to hate. They're always going to hate. It doesn't matter. They're gonna shit. They're gonna poo poo on everything that you do. It doesn't matter. Like that's what it's going to be. And it's just like, get over yourself. I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna make sure that we are very cognizant of the people that we bring on, that we look at things. We don't just say things one way. Look, I mean, I've been blackballed and taken out of rooms basically because I call people out where it's like all white guys or all white people. And it's like, don't say this is diverse if it's not. Like, this is BS. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll ruffle every feather in the world. If I feel like something is wrong, I'm going to call it out. I'm not going to just sit back and be like, oh, this is okay. Right? Like, I'm going to say it in the moment, and I don't care what happens when that happens.
Yeah.
And I constantly do that, and I'm fine with it. Like, I think that's how more people should be.
Yeah, I mean, that level of accountability and just talking those different things is always good across whatever platform or whatever group, you're in. This is an interesting world we live in for a lot of places where we scream diversity or inclusion, but the real level of where that comes into play is like at a point. There's like, you could be included to a point. You can, is diverse to a point, and the basis of those is meant to be, unilateral, and it's not. And that's a funny thing that I've experienced. And even, to take one step further on this thought is that's one of my personal motivators as well, is that I want to, not just for, my people, but just overall, I want everyone to feel empowered, or I want everyone to feel like they have whatever idea that they have is worth nurturing. And if you align yourself with the right people, no matter what race, nation, nationality, creed, or whatever, you can have success. So
being a founder doesn't show any color,
Right.
any gender. I mean, it's as straight down the middle as possible, and I think that's what's glorious about it. It's like, if people want it, they'll find it, and that's
exactly.
And that was another thing to touch on. Brett, you appreciate your service. You're in the Air Force. You're an Air Force reservist.
Yes.
I was an Air Force guy back in the day, and just like being a founder, you put the uniform on, and you got a mission to do, and that's all that you need to focus on. Nothing else matters, but other than accomplishing that mission. So that's one of the things that I brought over directly from my Air Force days was, as a founder, you got a mission. You're not going to be funded the right way. You're not going to have all the staff that you need to get it done, but you got to find a way to get it done. And so that's something that I have found directly correlates.
I can relate to that so much throughout my whole military career. And a funny thing is that from my level of IT, from that experience, the military actually helped me to thrive and be successful in corporate America, because honestly, a lot of times I was the only, Black person in the room or Black person on certain projects. And, for some people, that could be very uncomfortable. And I did have those moments and times myself. But fortunately, recognizing what would need to be accomplished, like the mission at hand, the goal at hand, the task at hand, whatever in between, it allowed me to, cut through the fog of that and recognize like, hey, I don't care where you're from. I just care about, the quality of the work or the things that you're doing, and vice versa. So, again, that mentality you would think should be automatic across the board from everybody, but it's not. One day the world maybe will be like that. And I will hope and love to see that happen. Maybe, in the era that when my kids are full adults and fully out in the world, that they can actually experience that. And some of the things that we're talking seems like foreign to them. They're like, well, what do you mean? Like, I want, I would love, for that paradigm to shift. But, all we got to do right now is what we can control within ourselves and how we act. And again, speak truth to power whenever necessary or possible. And just, try to love each other, and treat each other how we want to be treated.
100%.
And that's how we're going to close the show, because I got nothing else to say. Is there anything else we didn't talk about?
Well, that took a turn, right? But that was great conversation. That's part of the unscripted part of this show that I appreciate so much. That we can keep things real and keep on spreading the love.
Thank you. I just want to say a closing word. It's like, thank you again for my supporters. Please, as well, please support StartWheel and what they're doing. They're doing some really great things, some really great insight. If you're looking for the knowledge or something to do something for yourself or others around you, this is a great place to start, a great hub. So reach out to these two nice gentlemen, and as well, or even me. Each one teach one. We're all better together.
Well, and thank you for calling me a gentleman. That is very nice of you. It's been absolutely wonderful. Maybe I'll see you next week. Maybe not. I don't know. I just made your scoring, so that's cool.
Yes. That's not. I told you I'm a nerd, so it's in there. Sorry.
We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Thanks.